Get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew about music festivals, because tonight we're diving deep into the whole story with Anderson Cooper, Season 3, Episode 14. This one's not just about fun, glitter, and endless guitar solos. It's a hard-hitting look at what's happening behind the scenes at the biggest live concerts and festivals in the world, and how some of your favorite musicians are leading an environmental revolution that could change the way millions of fans party, travel, and take action for the planet. If you want to know how Billie Eilish, Jack Johnson, and legends like Bonnie Raitt are reshaping music culture and the climate movement, stay tuned. I promise you'll see your next concert in a whole new light. The episode opens with Anderson Cooper setting the stage, literally, for a story that's about far more than the music. Woodstock 1969, peace, love, and 3 days of iconic live performances. It drew over 400,000 people, forever changing the music world. But also, it left a massive environmental mess. Since then, festivals have exploded. Think Coachella, Lollapalooza, even local fests in your city. Each year, millions show up, craving the magic of live music. But behind the magic is an ugly reality: crazy amounts of food waste, plastic bottles littering venues, mountains of trash, and giant power generators pumping out carbon emissions. Even the way fans travel to their favorite gigs, by car or plane, means that concerts have a huge footprint. That's where Bill Weir, CNN's chief climate correspondent and a fellow music lover, comes in. He's here to chase down some of the music world's most famous names: Billie Eilish, Bonnie Raitt, Jack Johnson, and figure out how they're changing the game, inspiring not just big industry changes, but also the fans themselves. Bill takes us to Jack Johnson's Hawaiian Paradise. Jack isn't just strumming chill songs on the beach. He's running an educational farm, Kokua Farm, aimed at teaching kids about nature, responsibility, and joyful help. Jack grew up with aloha values, which taught him respect for nature and community, a life philosophy that, he admits, became a gnawing concern as he started selling out venues. Bill goes on a tour of the farm: mango and citrus trees, beehives, endangered species plantings, and lots of mud and laughter, with Jack showing off the spirit of Kokua, which means doing good with joy. Jack's environmental awakening really took off the first time he saw the aftermath of a sold-out show. Empty plastic bottles everywhere, piles of trash, trucks idling outside the amphitheater. The Hawaiian clean up after your party ethic took hold, and the Johnsons, Jack and wife Kim, launched efforts to reduce the environmental impact at every show. Jack ditched demands for luxury, a bathtub for booze, and instead requested composting stations, local food, plastic, free venues, earning the nickname, the Jack Johnson Package, among promoters. He didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk, with Kim driving much of the change behind the scenes. Together, they built community projects and tried to transform concert culture into something wholesome and joyful, not just a cash grab. But Jack's not alone. Enter Billie Eilish, indie icon turned global superstar. Billie's concerts aren't just about moody lyrics and viral videos. They're mini environmental campaigns. Billie's mom, Maggie Baird, is a fierce environmentalist and gets major credit for Billie's values. Maggie dragged Billie and her brother Phineas into nature, taught them about plant-based living, reusable bags, and avoiding paper waste long before it was trendy. As soon as Billie hit it big, she confronted the music business head on Vegan Catering backstage, refillable water stations, no plastic bottles, strict no idling policies for trucks, even power for her shows from solar panels. She used her clout to force major brands to change. Oscar de la Renta dropped fur products after Billy refused to wear their designs. She made sustainability cool for Generation Z. Fans now come to shows with reusable bottles. Venues are cleaner because people compete to fill bags with recyclables in exchange for merch. And with Billy pushing, massive festivals like Lollapalooza switched to battery power for their main stage, slashing emissions by up to 80%, and proving that clean energy concerts are possible. Bill zooms out to look at industry-wide action. Pioneers like Bonnie Raitt were raising the alarm about pollution, nuclear weapons, and civil rights in the 70s, modeling activism for future generations. Bonnie founded Green Highway to pair concerts with eco-education booths and hybrid cars, connecting fans to local nonprofits to prompt real-world action after the music ended. This inspired bands like Guster to stop complaining and actually do something, which led to the birth of Reverb, an organization now at the heart of concerts, Green Revolution, helping bands like Coldplay and Billie Eilish implement sustainability backstage, handle waste properly, and power tours with clean energy. Reverb's approach isn't preachy, it's about enhancing the concert experience, making small, sustainable changes accessible and fun for everyone. The episode shines a spotlight on Coldplay, possibly the boldest tour innovators in the business. Chris Martin's Music of the Spheres tour wasn't just a promise, it's a challenge. If the band couldn't slash its carbon footprint by half, they'd stop touring. They developed kinetic dance floors that turned jumping fans into electricity, used biofuels from cooking oil for buses, and adopted giant BMW battery systems to run shows from local renewable energy sources. They hit nearly 60% reduction, their fans literally powering the music. MIT researchers studied these efforts, comparing music's total annual pollution to 3 million cars. Not huge in the scheme of things, but the footprint from fans traveling far to their dream shows is a major challenge. The episode gets real about thorny issues. Big acts often play fewer locations for economic reasons, making thousands of fans travel long distances, ramping up emissions. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour in Singapore was a flashpoint. Concentrating shows in one spot caused audience-related emissions to spike. There's talk of controversial future fixes like geo-access, letting locals get first dibs on tickets, but it's a tough sell in a culture used to the pilgrimage of destination shows. Even venues get called out. Massive attacks boycott of Coachella due to its desert location and water usage forced industry reflection. Next year, Coachella rolled out its own zero carbon stage and BYO bottle policy. That's the episode's recurring theme. Fans, artists, and venues are finally listening and responding to each other, incrementally improving and sometimes being forced to change when someone publicly shames them. There's also the growing threat of climate change itself. Floods, canceling multiple days at Bonnaroo, wild weather making festivals riskier, and spiraling insurance costs for concerts. The political climate isn't friendlier. Footage of Donald Trump chanting, "Drill, baby, drill," reminds us that big business and government can throttle climate progress just as artists and fans are getting mobilized. But this isn't a doom and gloom story. The whole story with Anderson Cooper, Season 3, Episode 14, closes with hope. Jack Johnson writes composting songs for kids. Cocoa Farm thrives. Local, circular economy, refill stations, reusable goods for sale. Kim finds hope in the next generation, the spark in their eye. Ajar's Adam Met, who teaches climate policy at Columbia, runs activist campaigns in his shows, getting fans to phone bank, sign petitions, and clean up beaches. 15% of attendees taking real action. Billie Eilish talks about the anxiety and apathy that can keep young people from voting and acting, but she argues that every single vote and voice matters, especially on the climate. Bonnie Raitt's message sums it up: we don't have to be purists or perfect, but we do have to participate, to choose service over greed and action over despair. In short, music festivals and concerts are evolving from being just massive parties to platforms for real change. The artists aren't just preaching, they're reshaping the business itself, making environmental choices cool, and galvanizing fans to push the revolution forward in their own communities. The ending is simple: joyfully participate. Find your tribe at a show. Get inspired not just by the music, but by the movement. The revolution starts here, and you don't need to be famous to join in. That wraps up our deep dive into the whole story with Anderson Cooper, Season 3, Episode 14. One of the most inspiring, surprising, and energizing looks at how the intersection of music and climate action could just be the key to changing culture for good. If you had thoughts about this episode, or if you've ever taken action after a show, drop a comment below. Let's talk about your favorite moment, artist, or idea from tonight. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep recaps, breakdowns, and behind-the-scenes stories. See you next time.